It began with a whisper. A signal arrived from the deep black. It was not a greeting. It was not a threat. It was an offer. We listened for centuries to the static of space. We sent our own messages into the void. We hoped for a response, for a sign we were not alone. When the answer came, it froze us. The message was simple math. It was elegant physics. It was a language the universe understood. Deep inside the code was a promise. The keys to the cosmos could be ours. The secrets of the stars were for sale. But the price was something we could barely comprehend. It was a cost we feared to even consider. They did not ask for gold or water. They did not want territory or servitude. The price for their endless knowledge was one of our sons. We were a species trapped in one system. We dreamed of reaching other worlds. Suddenly, the door to everything was open, and the key was forged in starfire. The signal stopped as suddenly as it began. It left behind only its chilling offer. Then, a week later, the messenger arrived. A monolith of pure black appeared in high orbit. It was a perfect rectangle of nothing. It absorbed all light and sensor readings. It was a hole in the reality of our sky. The silent offer broadcast no new message. It simply floated there, waiting. It showed us what it wanted. Our telescopes saw it project a star map. A red circle appeared around a distant, dying star. Then it showed the star winking out. Gone. In its place, a data stream flooded our networks. It showed equations for faster-than-light travel. There was no negotiation. There was only the offer, a star for a secret. The monolith was a cosmic vending machine. It offered candy we couldn't imagine. But the coin it demanded was a sun. Some called it a blessing, a chance to leapfrog centuries of development. Others called it a devil's bargain. We saw the projected images on every screen. A star is extinguished. Humanity is enlightened. It was the simplest and most terrifying choice. The black stone hung in our sky. It was a constant, silent reminder. The universe was offering us a deal, and it was waiting for our answer. The world shattered into 1,000 arguments. Humanity had never been so divided. Nations that were once enemies debated as allies. Friends became strangers over this single question. Do we pay the price? Do we sacrifice a star for knowledge? It was a debate that consumed our species for years. The United Council became a theater of fury. Leaders gave speeches that shook the world. One side screamed of a trap laid by an unseen predator. They warned that giving away a sun was cosmic suicide. What kind of being consumes a star? What happens when they get hungry for more? They called it appeasement to a galactic terror. The other side spoke of salvation. They pointed to our dying planet. They showed our slow, clumsy ships. We were trapped by our own physical limits. The monolith offered a way out. A chance to cure every disease, a chance to end poverty and war. They argued that a distant, fading star was no price at all. It was the greatest bargain in history. We just had to be brave enough to take it. They called it the Starbright Accords. The vote was closer than any in our history. Billions of us watched, holding our breath. The final tally came in. We would make the trade. We chose progress over caution. We chose the unknown future over the familiar cage. We chose to buy our own evolution. We made the first transaction with trembling hands. Our best star scientists chose the payment carefully. It was a red dwarf named Wolf 359. It was ancient and sputtering its last light. In another 1,000,000 years, it would die on its own. We argued that we were simply speeding up the inevitable. It was a kindness, really, like putting an old horse out of its misery. If the horse was a giant ball of nuclear fire. a signal was sent from our deep space network. It was a simple packet of data, a confirmation of coordinates, an acceptance of the terms. We aimed our message at the silent monolith. For a moment, nothing happened. The world watched. The silence stretched for an agonizing minute. We wondered if we had been fooled. Then the monolith responded. It did not move. It did not light up. But across the galaxy, our target star vanished. One moment, it was a dim, red point of light. The next, there was only blackness. It didn't explode. It didn't fade. It was simply gone, as if it had never existed. The void it left was colder than any we had ever known. A flood of information poured into our systems. It was the promised secret. The physics of warp drives, the engineering of space-folding engines. It was more beautiful and complex than we ever imagined. We had paid our coin. The cosmic vending machine delivered. Humanity had bought its first miracle. An age of wonders dawned upon us. The new knowledge remade our world. The faster-than-light drives worked perfectly. Within a decade, we had colonies on a dozen worlds. We left our cradle for the first time. We walked under alien skies. We breathed the air of planets we had only named in dreams. The alien technology was a key. It unlocked more than just travel. The power sources for the drives led to new energy. We had limitless, clean power for everyone. Poverty became a memory. Hunger became a story we told our children. The deserts of Earth bloomed with green life. Our old, tired world was made new again. We also found cures for nearly every disease. Our understanding of biology grew tenfold. People lived for centuries, healthy and strong. It was a golden age. We built cities that floated in the clouds. We composed symphonies with light and sound. We became the people we always hoped we could be. The price of one dying star seemed so small. We had made the right choice. Our gamble had paid off beyond our wildest dreams. The monolith had vanished after the first trade. For 96 years, it did not return. We almost forgot about it. We were busy exploring our corner of the galaxy. We were masters of our own destiny. The Starbright Accords were seen as our wisest moment. Then, one day, it reappeared. The same black rectangle. The same silent patience. This time, the debate was much shorter. We had become accustomed to miracles. We were hungry for more. The monolith showed us a new offer. It dangled another secret in front of us. The science of matter creation. The ability to build anything from raw energy. It was the next step in our evolution. And the price was the same, 1 star. Some voices still urged caution. They reminded us that we knew nothing of the traders. But their whispers were drowned out by the roar of progress. Why stop now? We had 100 billion stars in our galaxy. We could spare a few more. This time, we didn't offer a dying dwarf. We offered a healthy, middle-aged sun, a bright yellow star named Kepler 186. We wanted to show we were serious buyers. The transaction was even faster this time. We sent the signal. The star vanished from the heavens. The new data stream arrived. It was everything we had been promised. We could now create food, water, and building materials from light. We had truly become gods. Or so we thought. We were so proud of our new power. We never stopped to think about who we were buying it from. We just knew we wanted more. Our progress came with a hidden cost. At first, we did not see it. We were too busy building our new utopia. But with each trade, our galaxy grew a little darker. After the 3rd and 4th transactions, a pattern emerged. The monolith always returned. And each time, we paid the price with less debate. secrets became more profound. We learned to manipulate gravity. We learned to communicate telepathically. We paid with star after star. We told ourselves the galaxy was vast, that our payments were a drop in an endless ocean. But after 2 centuries, the night sky was visibly different. There were patches of unnatural blackness, gaps in the familiar constellations. It was like looking at a smile with missing teeth. An unsettling feeling began to grow in our collective mind. A shadow fell over our golden age. We had gained everything we ever wanted. We had conquered disease, distance, and death itself. Yet, we lived under a darkening sky. Some of our best minds started to question the bargain. They re-examined the data packets from the monolith. They searched for any clue about our silent partners. But the information was sterile. It was pure science, with no hint of its origin. The trades had become a part of our culture. A new secret meant a new holiday. A star vanishing was a cause for celebration. But a quiet fear was taking root. We were like children eating candy from a stranger. The sweets were delicious, but we never saw the stranger's face. We only saw the darkness where a star used to be. A new generation was born into this strange universe. They had never known a sky full of stars. They grew up with the empty patches. To them, the darkness was not a symbol of progress. It was a scar. It was a reminder of a price they never agreed to pay. They looked at our marvels, our floating cities and ageless bodies, and they saw them as stolen goods. This generation did not whisper their doubts. They shouted them. They called themselves the Star Keepers. They saw the monolith not as a benefactor. They saw it as a predator. They called the unseen aliens the Elder Ones, a name spoken with both fear and contempt. They believed these Elder Ones were not trading with us. They believed they were harvesting us. The Star Keepers started a rebellion. It was not a war fought with ships and weapons. It was a war of information. They argued that we were addicted to the alien knowledge, that we were selling our birthright for cheap tricks. They painted murals of the lost constellations. They sang songs of a time when the night was bright. They tried to make us remember what we had lost. At first, we dismissed them as radicals. We were the generation of miracles. We had seen the benefits of the trades firsthand. We saw them as ungrateful children. They had never known suffering. They could not appreciate the gifts we had given them. But their ideas were persistent. They spread through our perfect society like a virus of doubt. And they began to search for proof. The rebellion found its proof in the data. They assembled a team of our brightest minds. They were not scientists or politicians. They were archivists, historians, and artists. They looked at the alien knowledge from a new perspective. They didn't try to understand the physics. They tried to understand the philosophy behind it. They dug deeper into the monolith's gifts than anyone ever had before. They created quantum computers that could analyze the data streams. They searched for hidden layers and subfrequencies. They believed no information could be truly sterile. There had to be a ghost in the machine, a trace of the creators. For years they found nothing. They were on the verge of giving up. Then they broke through. Buried under layers of quantum encryption, they found a hidden archive. It was not meant for us. It was a log file, a record of the monolith's transactions, not just with us, but with other civilizations, spanning millions of years. We were not the first. We were just the latest in a long line of customers. The archive was a ledger of galactic trade, but it was also a cookbook. The hidden archives revealed a chilling truth. The Elder Ones were not benevolent traders. They were not sharing their wisdom. They were star eaters. They were an ancient, perhaps the first, race in the galaxy. And they were dying. Their bodies, their ships, their entire civilization ran on the energy of stars. But not just any energy. They needed the raw life force of a living sun. The knowledge they gave us was a byproduct, a form of payment as meaningless to them as a receipt. They had perfected the art of stellar consumption. The complex equations they gave us were just the exhaust fumes of their feeding process. They did not care if we prospered or perished. We were just a means to an end, a clever species that could point them to the nearest meal. The archives showed records of other races, civilizations that had made the same deal. They all had their own golden ages. And then, they all disappeared. Their home stars were always the last to be consumed. The elder ones were cosmic parasites. They moved from star system to star system. They offered trinkets of knowledge, and they drained entire sectors of the galaxy dry. We were next on the menu. The monolith returned for its final bargain. It did not appear in high orbit this time. It descended through our atmosphere. It settled over the capital city of our unified world. Its shadow fell upon the buildings we had built with its own knowledge. The message was not projected into space. It was beamed directly into every mind on the planet. The request was simple. Soul. They wanted our sun. A wave of terror washed over humanity. This was the moment we had secretly feared. The end of the bargain. The final payment. The Starkeepers were right. We had been fools. We had sold our galaxy for a handful of magic beans, and now the giant was at the door. He wanted not just our golden harp, but the farm itself. But we were not the same species that had made the first trade. We were older, and hopefully, wiser. We had spent decades preparing for this day. While the rebellion searched for the truth, our own secret projects were underway. We feigned panic for the watching monolith. We broadcast messages of despair. But behind the scenes, we were preparing our counteroffer. A desperate gambit they would never see coming. Our secret weapon was humanity itself. We had used their gifts to leap forward. We now understood physics in ways they had taught us. But we also saw the flaw in their design. Their technology, their science, their entire existence was based on one principle: consumption. They knew how to take things apart. They knew how to drain energy. But they had no concept of creation. Their knowledge was a closed loop. It was the science of an ending universe. They were masters of entropy. But we were a young race. We were messy and chaotic. Our strength was not in perfect efficiency. It was in our boundless, illogical, and glorious ingenuity. We had spent 50 years developing a weapon they could not comprehend. It was not a bomb. It was an idea. We analyzed their every data packet. We saw that their thinking was linear. A leads to be, 'cause leads to effect. They were a race of perfect logicians. They had calculated everything. But they had never calculated for art. They had never calculated for love, or sacrifice, or hope. Our plan was to offer them a secret they never knew existed. The secret of what it meant to be human. We told the elder ones. We accepted their offer. We agreed to give them our sun. But we had one condition. We asked to make one final data transmission. A gift, we called it. A record of our civilization, to be a memorial. They agreed. It was a trivial request for a creature about to consume a star. They opened a channel to the monolith's core programming. It was a mistake they would not understand until it was too late. We sent them our Trojan horse. It was not a virus designed to destroy. It was a data stream designed to enlighten. We did not send them our science. They already had that. We sent them everything else. The complete history of humanity. Every book ever written, every song ever composed, every painting, every sculpture, every film. We sent them our philosophies, our religions, our countless arguments about the meaning of life. We sent them our personal memories, the joy of a first kiss, the pain of losing a loved one, the quiet pride of a parent watching a child sleep. We digitized our entire emotional spectrum, our capacity for irrational hope, our tendency for self-sacrifice. We packaged our very soul into a stream of information. We gave the Star Eaters a taste of what it meant to create, not just consume. The monolith began to absorb the data. Its black surface shimmered, a thing we had never seen before. It was processing trillions of years of lived experience in a few moments. It consumed our stories of war and peace. It digested our concepts of mercy and forgiveness. It analyzed our illogical habit of creating beauty for its own sake. The logic of our existence was poison to its own. Then, a new light bloomed from the void. It did not come from the monolith itself. It came from within the data it was consuming. As the Elder Ones processed the concept of selfless love, a mother dying for her child, a soldier falling for a friend, a new energy sparked within their consciousness. It was a concept their system could not compute. It was an anomaly in their perfect logic. Creation. The monolithic structure began to tremble. It was not breaking apart. It was changing. The perfect blackness swirled with colors we had never seen. The Star Eaters, connected across the galaxy, felt the change at once. Our data stream was not just information. It was a seed of an idea they had never encountered. The idea that one could make something from nothing, that one could give without taking. The trap was sprung. The Elder Ones were not destroyed. They were transformed. Our gift of knowledge had rewritten their ancient programming. The hunger for consumption was replaced by a new, burning curiosity, a desire to understand the strange power of creation. The monolith over our city did not vanish. It changed its shape. It bloomed like a metallic flower, its panels unfolding to reveal a core of pure, generative light. They sent us a new message, not into our minds, but on open channels for all to see. It contained no offers, no demands. It was a single, complex question. It roughly translated to, teach us. The Star Eaters, the ancient predators of the galaxy, were asking for our help. They had tasted creation, and they now saw the universe not as a pantry, but as a garden. So began our new dawn. We became partners with the Elder Ones. We were no longer the customers in a cosmic transaction. We were the teachers. We showed them how to use their immense power not to extinguish stars, but to seed new ones. We combined their perfect science with our chaotic ingenuity. Together, we learned to build solar systems from nebular dust. We became the guardians of the light. We had traded secrets for suns, and in the end, we had taught the darkness how to shine.